Welcome to the Agents Lounge podcast, where we talk all things real estate with the industry's top performers. Join us as we dive into the inspiring journeys of successful agents and uncover the secrets to their success. Whether you're a seasoned agent or just starting out, we got the tips and tricks to help you navigate the world of real estate. Brought to you by Airtegrity Comfort Solutions. So grab a seat and join us in the Agents Lounge.
All right, so welcome back. This is the 6th episode of Agents Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Gaylor, co-host Francisco Bermudez Jr. with owner of Airtegrity Comfort Solutions. We have Mr. Gino with 5G Electric accompanying us today. And then the focus of today's episode, Mr. Brett Reed with Real Property Management Hill Country Branch. Is that right?
Correct, yes. Hello.
So just kind of break the ice a little bit before we get going into the nitty-gritty. What is the most sporadic, adventurous thing that you've ever done?
Man, that is. When we feel like it, we'll just, pick up and drive to the beach with, an hour's notice. I don't know if that's the most sporadic, but that comes to mind.
Really?
Yeah.
You were just like, I want to be at the beach right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm going.
We're 2 hours away. Why wouldn't we?
Port A or?
Oh, yeah, Port A, all the way.
Nice. What about you, Gino? You got anything?
I would love to go to Port A.
Let's
up
go.
the ATVs
Yeah.
and hit the road. Just travel.
Nice. All right. So just give us a little bit of background about before you got into what you do today.
Yeah, so I've actually been in real estate for close to 15 years now. I have been all over the place in property management, in commercial real estate, in the real estate software industry. I've sold data and analytics products. I've managed some of the softwares that a lot of real estate agents and brokers use on a day-to-day basis. I've managed over 10,000 properties throughout the United States, and last year I decided to go out on my own, so now I own my own business.
Yeah. And what does that look like? Did you get to transfer some clients from your old?
Nope. I moved to San Antonio in 2020. I have a lot of family that's here, and that I was born here actually, and I just said, you know what, now's time to start my own business. And so my wife and I, we talked about it. We made the decision, and since January of 2022, I have been building and growing a property management company here.
Nice. What did that look like just starting kind of new? How did you market yourself? How did you get your name out there?
Yeah, so I'm with the Real Property Management franchise. It is a neighborly brand. So, we have some of our sister companies like Molly Maid or Mr. Handyman.
Yeah.
And I went with them. They have helped me with marketing support, with website, with just kind of a plan in place. But it was a lot of getting to know realtors in town, obviously, all the online internet advertising sources, and really just beating the street and trying to meet as many people as possible that have some sort of connection to the real estate world.
Yeah.
And once you start doing well for others, and if they let the Googles of the world know, then everyone else starts calling you.
Yeah. Do you have any particular networking groups you're a part of?
Yeah, I'm part of a couple, just real estate meetups and focus groups. BNI Network is one of them that I think that's where we connected with Airtegrity with, and the Bernie Chamber of Commerce. My office is in Bernie, and so, those are a couple that come to mind.
Nice. So what advice would you have give to someone that's just starting out in the industry?
Be prepared to do a lot of work.
And what does that look like? What does it look like?
Oh, it's the property management industry is definitely fun. There's definitely something new and different every day, but it takes a while to build, and it's
just like any other business, I'd imagine, right? But
yeah. But it's kind of a being a jack of all trades, being able to identify when you need, an electrician, when you need, air conditioning help, when you need plumbing, when you need someone just to remove a bunch of junk from a home, as well as just the daily leasing and managing tenants and making sure move-in processes and rekeys and all that kind of stuff goes well, goes smoothly, so that your tenants are happy, so that your owners are happy.
Yeah. And I guess that's a good thing. Like you said with real property, that is like you had your connections already here. So like Molly Maid, you said, right?
Correct.
And
yeah.
then Mr. Handyman.
Yeah. There's really it's just about having a lot of contractors, vendors, handyman, people in place that when something needs to be done, you know who to call, and more importantly, they know you, so that they will get out there and do your job quickly and get things done.
Yeah. So do you have, like when you first started with real estate, did you have a open door, or did you have to kick a door down? What did that look like? So did you have a mentor of sorts?
When I first started in real estate back in, what are we calling it these days? The Great Recession. Back in, I think it was 2009 in Austin, Texas, in the UT area.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I was looking to get into teaching. I was fresh out of college, and that wasn't going anywhere. My little brother was working in real estate in the campus area, and he said, "Oh, you should, come work with me." And so I did, and we had fun. We made some money at it, and that just started me off down the real estate path. And
man,
years later, here
I can't tell you how often, so this is our 6th episode, right? And almost all of the realtors or property managers we've had on have been, it's something to do with teaching almost.
Oh, really?
I would say 5 out of 6 now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Francisco taught. Gina, do you have any teaching experience?
No.
I don't either, but it's a common trend that we're finding.
Oh, that's crazy.
You mentioned that you started around the recession time in 2008.
Yes.
Do you feel like we're going in that direction again, or how,
Good question. I don't know. I listen to as much as I can, but and also try to pay attention to the trends of the market. I can tell you the rental market isn't slowing up, and even if we are, I mean, if you compare the market numbers to what they were, 2019 or so, it doesn't really look like we're going into that much of a recession. Even if the rest of the country does, I always feel safe and secure in Texas because people are moving in.
Yeah.
And even if things are going down, the influx of people immigrating here to Texas means there's a huge amount of demand. So from what I can tell, home sales are still doing well. I don't do much of that, but rentals are just as strong as ever. And if we put a rental up, we'll have at least 10 people that are beating down our doors trying to rent it out.
Oh wow! So there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think about that until you just said it. We literally, Texas has Central South America immigrants coming in. We have people coming from really all over the country to Texas.
Yeah.
And masses
Yeah,
so,
and most of it is that that California, New York, Florida, they're all coming here, and a lot of people are wanting to rent at least for a year or so. But
right.
It's also pushing other people out that would have bought that now say, all right, let's rent for a while. So I never have problems finding renters. My biggest problem is making sure a homeowner will have a nice quality house that is just ready to be rented, ready to be moved into.
Yeah. So what does work-life balance look like, especially now since you're starting your own thing?
That has, that's tough, but we're figuring it out. No, it's definitely something, and this is the first time I have owned my own business, so making sure that I figure that out is very important to me. We're taking on a couple people that are helping us out, just in part-time roles or as a real estate agent role that can help us, get new owners on board, lease out properties for us. Part of that so that I can actually sit down in the office and breathe once in a while and go home and see my wife and kids.
Yeah, so I can't, like, do you have to set boundaries for yourself or for other people? What does that look like?
Yeah, it is it's a fine line there because excuse me, part of the property management industry that is tough is, you're managing someone's, $500,000 asset sometimes.
Yeah.
So when someone is entrusting you a couple $100,000 and it's not like a stock that isn't going anywhere, this is a house that could burn down, could flood, could, real damage can happen. You want to be available and you need to be available. But at the same time, I've had to learn to make sure I shut it down and say, okay. And I tell owners and tenants this all the time that, I don't mind if you communicate to me anytime. Mm-hmm. However, just bear in mind that if it's a night, if it's a weekend, and I don't deem it to be an emergency, and state law doesn't deem it to be an emergency, I might not get back to you until, Monday morning or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Or
But still, I also have the heart for, hey, if there's something that's going wrong and all I have to do is text someone and tell them, oh, just go over to this panel or just go over and, turn this knob or something, or here's who you should call, then of course I'm going to do that. It's as y'all know, it's not an emergency to, fix the AC system if it's below a certain temperature.
Right.
But it still sucks when you've got a 80-degree house and there's no AC. So, I don't mind, calling up Air Integrity and saying, hey, can you get out there on a Saturday?
Right.
And it's interesting because I feel like throughout the years you can troubleshoot most of the stuff over the phone, right? With most of the stuff that you have seen, like.
Yeah.
Because when we talk to several property managers, they're like, we already told them to do this, this, and this. I'm like, man, you guys know more than y'all can be a technician already.
Oh, yeah.
The experience you have.
Right.
Well, and technology has made it so nice too, to where if I can, if I can get from my tenants and send to, one of y'all, here's a video or a couple pictures of the issue that's happening. Now all of a sudden, you already know this is what it's going to take. Or sometimes we'll even have people just say, oh, look, it's not even worth my time going out there. I don't even want to make money. Just tell them to do this.
Yeah.
And they can fix it themselves. And
right. Well, I mean, I don't know, like, I've went down that rabbit hole before. I can imagine that we've all been stuck in a situation where we're, like, trying to fix something from a YouTube video or somewhat, and especially with, like, my car or something, and then, you just end up messing up things worse, or usually in my case.
I'm going to bring Gino here. So what are your thoughts, Gino?
You ever had to go back on a YouTube repair attempt?
Probably like on a mechanic where you drop a screw down somewhere you can't reach.
Yeah, exactly. Take a panel off you don't know how to get back on.
What about for electricity? Like, what are some of the things that you see?
In electrical, we run into all kinds of problems in the homes because the electrical, the panels, they're only equipped to last about 45 years. So a lot of these homes are very old, and people don't know they're like ticking time bombs in their wall. So when we go in there, I mean, there's times where there's tape holding the panels. I mean, they got thumbtacks, they got wires. I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen lizards stuck in there, feces, rats. I mean, you name it. And people are there's some electricians / handymen that don't take pride in their work, and when they go in there, they just tie 2 wires and they call it good and they leave. And you call them up, they don't never answer their phone. See, so when we go in there, we take photos of everything, and we don't hide from our work. We document all that, and that's very hard to find. So when we do go in there, people like love us, like we're God. Like, oh, we've had so many electricians in here, and they don't want to do it. They run as soon as we said we're gonna call CPS, they take off because they don't have license, they don't have insurance, and
man.
And when they call CPS, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put CPS to work. I mean, they get here, and I make sure they make the repair done right. I mean, we did that yesterday, as a matter of fact. We had a house almost burned down because of that, and I had CPS go out there, and when they turned off the power, and we found a wire that was burned out, melted. It was on a gutter box, so it was powering up 2 houses, and they were both going out. So I mean, we come across some crazy.
Oh man,
It's like you go and open up a panel, you're like, oh, hopefully it's okay.
Yeah, we saw a client that was stealing the neighbor's electricity. And
Wow.
he burnt out his refrigerator, his AC compressor, and several appliances because he wasn't getting the right amount of power. But we're not gonna get involved, but you need to get the right voltage to your home.
Yeah.
But it's gonna cost them a lot of money to do those repairs for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very dangerous, and it's a fire hazard. I mean, you gotta take care of your family and make sure your home's safe. Because
Right.
At the end of the day, it's your family and it's peace of mind, so you can sleep
Yeah.
peacefully. Because that's what we get a lot. Customers is, I hear something in the wall cracking or crackling. I hear when I turn on the switch, and I mean, you don't want to sleep like that every night. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you call us, so that way you can sleep at night.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's like a thought that I had come to mind is just the importance of like the small things you were talking about, taking pictures and just, being licensed and, you're not afraid of CPS, right? So we try to do, and picking up the phone when somebody calls, like all of those small things really, really are important, but so often overlooked.
Yeah.
So Brett, going back to you, what's the process like to put your house in the market for renting? How does that usually work?
Yeah, so usually, in fact, happened this morning that met with a gentleman. He's considering renting out his home that they had invested in and fixed up, and so we did a walkthrough. I pointed out to him, hey, here's the things that I would change around to to get this leased out better. As I tell a lot of people, everyone I meet with, luxury and comfort is very nice, but making sure it's functional is the absolute most. You can have a the nicest looking room or bathroom in the world, but if that shower is not actually going to work, or the hot water doesn't work, or something like that, well, it's just gonna they may see it at first and say, oh, this is nice, but then when they get in there, they're going to make request after request until things are are working nicely. So making sure the home works, all the the water, the electrical, the air conditioning, of course, in Texas, is all working, but that it looks nice, and you can walk in and say, okay, this is clean, it's comfortable. I would enjoy living here. So once an owner, we have that established, and an owner decides they want to rent their property out, they can engage with my services. I'll send them a management agreement. Once they sign that, I tell them I need keys to the property, and all the information about utilities, about how to, who, what, when, where, why of the property. We will go in, we take pictures, we list the property, we start taking requests to show the house to prospective tenants. We screen and qualify applicants, and at the end of the day, we deliver a signed lease. We'll move the tenants in, and then it's off to the races. And our owners, they sit back and just collect their paycheck or collect their owner draw on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So they're not really having to do anything except, as I tell them, keep paying your mortgage, pay your taxes, your insurance, and your HOA, and don't ignore my calls.
That's kind of a good segue. So have you ever faced any ethical dilemmas in your real estate career, and how did you handle them?
I'm sure I have. Yeah, there's.
Is there any that like pops to the front of your working memory?
I think that the biggest the biggest thing is just when you've got owners that that don't want to spend money, and it's never fun to go to someone and say, hey, you're going to have to spend some money on your house, and there are things that I get on the owner and the tenant side, but there are things that we have to fix, and especially for me being a licensed real estate agent, being a professional property management company, that I can't just turn my back on a property and say, okay, we're not going to fix this or that. Some of it could be safety hazards, moral hazards,
Yeah.
just things that need to be done. And so telling an owner, yeah, you've got to spend money,
It's not always an easy conversation.
It's not. It's hey, you spend this money or we're done here. I'm going to have to fire you. On the reverse side, some of the hard conversations with tenants are when, just because you're leasing a property doesn't mean that you're off the hook for anything that happens in the home. And far too often, tenants think that if I break that, the landlord will pay for it because it's their house. Well,
Oh yeah.
not really.
It's not my window. It's not my stove. Like stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, and things like appliances. Okay, if they break a window, it's pretty clear cut, But if a refrigerator goes out, that's some of that gray area.
Right.
All right. Whose fault is it? Well, refrigerators do that, especially the way they make them nowadays.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have one go out within a year or something, and and it's clearly due to neglect or something, or leaving the door open. All right, well then,
Right.
You've got to have those hard conversations.
Yeah. I imagine that's all in writing.
Oh,
you have an investigator for refrigerators or no?
The lawyers and insurance companies control the world, so it's all in the 20 plus pages you sign your life away on.
Right. All right. That was a good one. So yeah, you kind of covered a lot on that one. So like strategy for dealing with difficult clients, ethical dilemmas.
I just find it's best to, tackle it head on, and you're probably going to piss some people off, but you know what? It's worse when you try and hide issues. I don't want to, dance around something or sugarcoat it because someone's worried about paying $40 for some service, when it's like, all right, listen, if we don't tackle this, it's always going to be more expensive. And someone who doesn't want to pay for a simple, an AC tune-up or a quick, fix because something's wrong. Well, what's going to happen in 5 months?
Yeah, exactly.
It goes from a $200 charge to a $2,500 charge, and
either pay now or pay later.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you're going to be paying some interest later too. Yeah.
Well, and that's what, and I'm blessed. I have most all of my owners are have the right investor mindset to where they realize that that this isn't about $200 here or there. You're buying a house in like the ninth biggest city in the United States of America. Okay, I think we got we're in the top 5 or something in population growth. So, what are the chances that this house is not going to be worth a heck of a lot more money in 20, 30 years? In fact, I think I saw a stat saying that real estate prices doubled over the last 30 years. And that was just, somewhere in the last year or two.
Just housing in general, I think I saw that stat recently too. It was 183% since I think 2002, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, kind of to get political, but like the working wage has only went up 26% since then, and they were like doing a compare contrast.
Oh yeah. I mean they have the governments have made this a inflationary economy, and so when you can buy a house at a fixed price, it's going to increase, especially the way they've been spending money, and so it has absolutely been a good investment to buy at a fixed price on a fixed interest rate. And, these houses, I mean, I don't know anyone in their right mind who doesn't think they're going to double in another 20 to 30 years.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, if you can buy a house in San Antonio for, $300,000 to $400,000, knowing that it's going to be worth $700,000 to $800,000 in a generation.
Yeah.
Well, do you really want to have a house that's not taken care of? Because when a house is dilapidated and you haven't done anything to take care of it, and you've had a lot of deferred maintenance, now all of a sudden, in that 20 to 30 years, you've got what could be an $800,000 asset that should be your retirement. But guess what? You've now got to put $100,000 into it. Well, if you're like this, you probably don't have that $100,000 to spend.
Right.
So instead, some house flipper is going to come buy your house on the cheap, and you could have had a nice investment, and turns out into no, you let someone else walk away with that money.
Right. That's some good advice. Very thorough. Appreciate that. I had one question just for myself. So, like, what does an ideal renter look like in this economy? If they come to you, what are the greatest things? There's another word that I'm missing. It's not clicking right now. What are the greatest things that would get me qualified?
Things I look for, is someone who smiles. Honestly, someone who is going to realize that, like, listen, this is it's transaction, but it's also an ongoing relationship. Nothing, anyone that expects things to be perfect is not going to make a great renter because, just look back at your own house, whether you own or rent it.
Yeah.
Something's going to go wrong. There's always going to be maintenance, and so things will go wrong. And so tenants who look at that and say, okay, well, what can I do to make sure I take care of this home? Because if you can't buy a home, well, then you have to rent. And
right.
So knowing that you've got a part to play, it's not just okay, owner, you have to serve me and take care of me. Okay, yeah, there's a part of this. This is the owner's roof and walls and floors and blinds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But tenants who realize they've got a part to play in it as well and will help out with it and be patient.
Yeah.
Right now, getting service people out to do a job is one of the worst it's ever been in this economy or in this country, and prices have gone up for everyone, and so just the general handyman, or people that are coming out to do that repair work, their costs have gone up, so their prices have gone up, and so I remember when you could get someone to just come out for $75 and fix a bunch of stuff in half a day, and now those days are over. So
you
just
can
getting
get something from Olive Garden for $75 now for a family.
Yeah, don't go to a day if you ain't got at least $75.
Yeah, you might have to go to McDonald's now, and that's barely under.
Yeah, right.
McDonald's is $15 now, $12.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. So with that, it's looking for tenants who are going to realize that it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And and we'll get people out to do repairs, but to expect things to be done immediately, well then, that's that's just not happening nowadays. We get things done as quick as possible, but
Yeah. So just a little bit further for maybe some people that will watch this. If they reach out to you, what should the debt to income look like for renters? What should maybe a credit score baseline be before having a serious conversation with you?
yeah, in general, renters, we look for 3 times the monthly rent as income.
Yeah.
So your gross income, if you're looking to rent a $2,000 a month house, and most houses around San Antonio, I think the average rent is $1,800.
Yeah.
So income is your gross monthly income should be around $6,000 or higher. Average credit scores 550 or better. And that'll depend on each property, each owner.
Yeah.
And then we don't accept anyone with evictions.
Yeah.
Pets is always a fun one. But
Toss up.
Yeah, every property owner has their own pet policy. We don't lease to a lot of the restrictive breeds or the aggressive breeds for dogs. Cats are usually fine, but let's face it, everyone wants to have a pet. I get it. It's it's nice, it's fun, but pets also do cause damage of or maintenance on a home.
Right.
Whether that's actual physical damage you can see or smells and odors.
Smells and odors, maybe the backyard too, just digging up some of the grass.
Oh yeah. or hair in the carpets, or
Yeah,
the biggest one is blinds.
Oh yeah.
Dogs just love to chew on blinds, and I hate those things, but everyone wants them, everyone needs them, but if you chew through, not you, but if your pet chews through,
Well,
either one of you chew through even one of those, the blades on a blind, or one little piece, you have to replace the whole thing. So
yeah.
it's
That's a good point.
if you have a lot of windows, that can get pretty expensive pretty quickly.
Yeah. The number you threw out there for the credit score, 550, I was not expecting less than like a 620, but I guess that's for actually buying a house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Rather than renting.
Yeah, and I don't know all the national statistics, but I want to say that a good credit score to buy a home is 680.
Yeah.
I'd say my average renter probably is around a 6 to 615. But I mean, the credit scores are not a perfect system.
Yeah,
and I personally don't like them, but
Not the best indicators.
Yeah, but also, unfortunately, a lot of people really got screwed over during the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen just, a lot of unfortunate situations, and people's credit situations really took a downfall. And frankly, I can't blame them, because they had, when they had no income or way of working, and
And you have rent due every month,
Yeah.
utilities piling up,
Yeah.
car payments, all that jazz.
I'm sure there's some statistics that either prove or disprove me, but my personal opinion is a lot of people's credit scores really took a nosedive over the past couple years.
Yeah.
And and it's not, and it's it affects real good people, and so well, the credit score is something we look at, but it's not the only thing that determines.
Right.
Because there's also other ways, if we're concerned. There are, additional deposits or things that we can do to, to work with someone if we see that they're going to be a good renter.
Well, that's great. Great.
And you make that decision of who to rent, or the homeowners?
It's a joint effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that's probably agreed upon before, like it
Yes.
hits the market. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's insightful. Appreciate you for sharing that. And I'm sure that regardless of the statistics on it, your boots are on the ground, so your assessment is probably accurate, at least for San Antonio and surrounding areas, I would imagine,
Yeah.
as far as
I'd
what you were
imagine
saying.
too, but
Right.
I'll wait
It's
for
like,
someone
no
with the
wonder-
stats to be like, "No, you're completely wrong." And,
Yeah. Somebody watching this is going to Googling it right now. Last question.
Then I'll just call him a troll and never get on the internet again.
So, do you have any hobbies or interests that kind of play into what you do for a living?
I mean, I don't know if this really plays into it, but I've always just been an outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, so I work with the indoors. No, but I love land. I love the outdoors, hiking, fishing, hunting,
Yeah.
camping, and so sometimes going to some of these properties are just super nice. If like I've been in Atascosa County the past couple days, and just you can get a lot more land out there. Some of it's just gorgeous and beautiful. I've got a few homes up on the Guadalupe, and so that's just beautiful places. And
Yeah.
and I'm nowhere on y'all's level in terms of being able to go out and fix a house, but you walk into some of these structures and it's just like, wow, that is just beautiful what we've created. And
Yeah.
and I mean, I live in a 90s build house myself, but I grew up going to my grandfather's house, and it was built in like the 20s, and I have an affinity for some of these older houses that that in college our house was built in the 40s or something, and so some of these older structures where they're not all the same, and they have a lot of just characteristic and style.
Yeah.
You know, I just enjoy that and see, oh wow, this is awesome the way things were made. And
Yeah, that old style, like the 20s are really cool. I don't know, like they're, what do you call them? They're not like colonial style, are they? There's a name for them.
oh yeah, I wouldn't know that though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah, so I mean, that's all I have, unless anyone else has any follow-up questions, comments.
No.
We're good?
Good.
All right, so that'll do it for the 6th episode of Agents Lounge. Thank you, Gino, for being here.
Say hi, Gino, to the camera.
How you doing? Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out for sure. Thank you, Brett, for coming out and taking time out of your schedule to be with us. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, thank you.
You've been listening to the Agents Lounge podcast, brought to you by Airtegrity Comfort Solutions. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or to listen to past episodes, please visit agentsloungepodcast.com.